What's up, everyone? This is Rich with Lifetime Shred, and today I want to talk about how to progress on a wakeboard. This topic is top of mind for me because even at 39 years old, I'm still trying to learn new tricks, and the other day I actually landed one of the first new tricks for me behind the boat in a bit, which was a Switch Hillside Frontside 360. Really stoked on that. I'll just show a little clip of that now. So getting into this trick, it got me thinking about, like, I see questions like, some people ask like JB O'Neill and other people like, hey, how do I get good? How do I progress? And I've been wakeboarding on and off for, over 2 decades. So I just wanted to share some of my experiences and some of my thoughts about it as I've gone through it. So anyway, getting into it. When it comes to progression wakeboarding, I think there's really 2 different types of riders out there, and I would give them very different advice. So getting into those 2 types of riders, probably the type of rider that is pushing to progress that most people think of is like someone who just goes out and tries something. They might be called a Hucker, they send it or whatever, and this is one way to learn tricks. The problem with this way is you're probably going to get hurt a bunch. It always kind of surprises me when I see someone out riding who maybe they can jump the wake, but they don't really look in great control and they're already trying back rolls or tantrums or something like that. You can definitely do that and you might eventually learn a back roll or a tantrum, but they're kind of leaving behind a lot of fundamental skills before they get to a place where they're actually ready to try these tricks. For example, like, I personally wouldn't recommend anyone try any kind of flip or spin until they're really comfortable wake to wake. And what I mean by that is you can jump wake to wake, you can grab the board with confidence. I'm talking about, getting on there, clamping the edge, lots of control. You know how to get more air, less air. I would say you even know how to take it to the flats if you really want to. So the other type of rider that exists that might suffer from lack of progression is kind of just like the chill person. They go out there, they ride, they have fun, they do the tricks they know how to do, and it's enjoyable. And like, I don't, this is kind of the category I fall into sometimes where, like, I just don't push myself hard enough because I have been injured in the past and it's just not where my mind's at. But the problem with this is if you're not ever trying anything new and you just get in this action of doing the same tricks over and over, you're never going to learn anything new. And I would actually argue you're actually going to get worse at wakeboarding over time if you don't push yourself at least a little bit. And what really highlighted that for me is I read a book maybe 3 or 4 years ago called Peak. It's by Anders Ericsson, and I'll link to that on Amazon below because it's probably one of the best books I've ever read. But in that book, Anders Ericsson, he talks about this idea of deliberate practice. And the idea of deliberate practice, at least the way I understood it, is you need to go out and deliberately do things that challenge yourself on an ongoing basis. So for wakeboarding, for this like kind of chill style rider and trying to progress, like, you need to get out there and do something that you're not already super comfortable and good at. So this could be adding a new grab to a trick or trying an actual new trick like a bigger spin or a flip that you haven't done or something like that. But you need to be deliberate. And the way I do this, and I think it's really helpful for progression, because I usually ride 2 sets that are about 12 to 15 minutes each when I go out on the boat, is the first set, I like to have fun. I kind of do my normal stuff that I know how to do, and it's a good time. If I get through all the tricks real quick, I might switch over to my deliberate mode right away. But definitely second set, I'm not out there to just do everything I know how to do already. Like, I'm picking something in my mind that I'm working on. And that could be fundamentals. Like, maybe I need to reset my toe side jump and get that good. But it could also be trying a trick that I haven't learned or something that I'm very inconsistent with. But I'm deliberately going out and deliberately doing something that I'm not comfortable with. Another thing that Anders Ericsson talks about in Peak is just getting proper coaching as well. And I would always suggest, ride with other riders who can help push you, who can explain things well, but even go a step further than that, take a trip to the boarding school, or if you do have some sort of wakeboard school in your area, take a lesson with a real coach and get proper coaching. So I'm going to use my Switch 360 as an example of some of this, and then I'm also going to sprinkle in some thoughts about mitigating risk along the way. So with the Switch 360, one thing I would call out here, getting back to like maybe something that would be for the Hucker or the chill person, is think about tricks that you can build on. So with the Switch 360, I do a lot of half cabs all the time. Like, I probably do more half cabs than normal toe side jumps. Like, it's just something I always do. So I'm like, okay, well, I know how to do a half cab, and a Switch 360 is just another 180, right? The other side of a Switch 360 is a Switch heel edge landing. So I do toe side, front side 180s, which has that same edge landing, right? I used to do Switch straight airs, which I need to get back into. So shame on me for that, because that would be a good fundamental for a Switch 3. I also do Switch 3s on cable. So I like doing Switch 3s out of features or on the kickers, heel side and toe side. So I had that in my background as well. So thinking around the Switch 3, you know, I chose a trick to work on that progressively I had most of the fundamentals in place to start working on. You know, the second thing I did is I wanted to mitigate risk. So I'll show some clips here while I'm talking, but I started working on this trick off the startup roller. So when your boat first gets on plane, there's kind of this roller that kicks up, and you're only probably going, I don't know, 12 miles per hour when it kind of kicks up, and you can try a spin. Like, this is kind of how I learned backside 180s as well, is going off the startup roller, and there's plenty of air to do a 360, as you probably just saw in the video I shared. And I fell on this a bunch, but when I fell, I mean, I even caught some back edges. I was going slow enough that it wasn't a big deal. So the startup roller is good. After that, I took this trick to a outside in jump. So with outside in, the way I do that is I slow the boat down to about 19-20, so it's a little bit slower than full speed, because I usually ride a high 22 up to about 23 miles per hour. And I actually keep the rope full at 75 feet long, but what I do is I weight the side of the boat that I want the wake to be clean on. So then you can jump from the outside in just like you would in a wakeboard jump, and you have a nice clean wake to go off of, but the landing is so wide, like you're never going to clear the wake, so you don't even need to think about that. And going a little bit slower, it's a little bit softer. So I did that next, and I landed a bunch of those, and I was feeling good about that. And then the next step, now I went to even weighting on the boat, and I sped up a little bit, up to about 21, and I went to about 65 feet. Maybe I was at 21.5, but I didn't have all the ballast in the boat. I probably had my boat ballasted at about 25% of what I would normally ride at, so I think I had, so I'm on my Axis 822, I think I had the wedge at a 2, and like, yeah, most 75% of the ballast had been dumped out. So then, and that's the one I had in the video earlier, so I learned, and then after that, that's when I was ready to take it wake to wake with the full ballast. And now, I don't have one of those on video, but I've landed a few of them at this point. And, you know, for mitigating risks, like, there's a lot of steps you can take along the way before you're just sending it. So like, if you're the chill type rider that I mentioned earlier, you can get out there, you can try a trick, you can go step by step so you're not worried, you're not getting too far out of your comfort zone. And, you know, for the more hucking type rider, I encourage them to go this path, because I know you just want to go out there and try it, but with this path, you can work on the trick without getting hurt as easily. So anyway, when it comes to all this, I just wanted to help people progress riding, and just some of the themes I talked about here. Be deliberate in your practice. You know, make sure you're not just doing what's comfortable every time you go and ride. Make sure if you do like to just send it, that maybe you've checked in and you said, hey, I've got all the fundamentals in place for this trick. I've got the edging, I've got the pop. You know, I'm not just sending it. Make sure you're good there. And, you know, try to mitigate risk a little bit. There's a lot of progressive steps you can take to learn a trick instead of just sending it. But all in all, hope you're all out there having an awesome summer, learning new tricks, having fun with your friends. And with that, I'll sign out. Peace.